This video is a response to Matt Easton's video regarding the uses of blackened armour during the medieval period. Matt is a military history expert and a keen reenactor, as well as a very experienced HEMA practitioner and a military antique dealer. I have experience in medieval armouring, having worked as an armourer for a year where I made and blackened multiple pieces of armour from helmets to tassets. I also study history for my YouTube channel, so I have a few extra pieces of key information to add to the blackened armour discussion, specifically regarding the possible preferable use of blackened armour in mercenary companies during the medieval period. In the book entitled Sir John Hawkwood, Story of a Condottiere, a biography of Hawkwood's military career within the mercenary White Company, which uses contemporary text translated from Italian to English between the 17th to 19th centuries. The book tells us that in October 1389, Hawkwood was experiencing issues with some condottiere he was attempting to keep under control, who had been in talks with other mercenary hiring figureheads such as Signoria of Florence. It is said that these Italian brigands were not all good fighting soldiers, and it required great caution in those who hired them to get them equipped according to their compacts. This extract is important as it hints that the mercenary administration were generally responsible for equipping their hired troops, and is something that they took into deep consideration before hiring people for their company. A detail that appears to reoccur during the Battle of Cassina, an Italian borough which proved to be an important strategic point during Hawkwood's campaign. The text reads, "Hawkwood left his cavalry behind, so that the advance may be less noticeable. And to stir up the energies of his Englishmen, he told them that in the Florentine camp they may take prisoners of 300 or 400 young nobles, worth from 1 to 2,000 florins of ransom. And besides, in the name of the Republic of Pisa, he promised double pay for a month if they were victorious." This alluring prospect so fired the courage of the mercenary vanguard, that, although they were fatigued by a march of 4 miles in the suffocating heat and weighed down by their arms and armour, they did not wait a second command, nor even the reinforcements of the Pisan militia, but rushed to assault of the trenches. This text directly states that these English mercenaries were indeed armoured, and perhaps considerably so, due to the mention of being weighed down and suffering the heat. The mercenaries were spurred on by the idea that more money was obtainable dependent on victory, and typically mercenary leaders would receive about 50% of this bounty. As such, armouring your men to the teeth with armour and weapons was of great importance and well worth the investment in order to achieve greater rewards. But of course, if you are investing in armour for your men, why waste money by paying extra for the armourers to spend more time hand sanding and polishing the armour to an aesthetically pleasant shine? Common sense would state that a mercenary company's budget would consist of procuring necessary armour for the men, and little to no budget would be spent on aesthetics. So, ordering blackened armour would be much more beneficial to the mercenary company's purse strings, and during the 14th and 15th century, large contingents of armies on the battlefield were made up of such mercenaries. And indeed, these soldiers would be on campaign for many months at a time, if not years, meaning that their spare time would be spent foraging for food, bartering for provisions at the local towns, building camps and on guard duty. So it would be of great disadvantage to keep repolishing armour as it is exposed to the elements for long periods of time. The act of blackening armour historically could be relatively simple. The easiest method was by purchasing linseed oil, a common ingredient for lubricating medieval machinery such as cranes and mills, as well as being used in textiles. After applying a thin layer of boiled linseed oil onto armour, you can put the armour under a light flame until the oil burns and infuses onto the armour, giving it a blackened finish and protecting it from rust. Typically, a well-applied layer of burned linseed oil would protect the armour for months of campaigning before acquiring a new layer, and it was easy to do. A soldier could even blacken their armour over a campfire. So that is my 2 cents worth as to why I believe that blackened armour was useful for campaigning mercenary soldiers, a cheaper alternative, and was prevalent during the medieval period. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comments, and if you have any further information or opinions about blackened armour, I'd love to hear them. But for now, thanks for watching.